If you've clicked on this video, you've probably already noticed. Digital humanities are all the hype now. Universities are opening new master's programs, professors are throwing AI and data into every course title, and yet it all sounds kinda suspicious. Let's just take a quick moment to ask, what are the digital humanities, really? Why do we even need them? And most importantly, why should you care about all this? Digital humanities were born out of a big necessity, the need to bring modern technology, and more recently AI, into research and teaching in the humanities. This applies to disciplines such as literature, languages, philosophy, history, and many more. Let's face it, working exclusively on paper has its limits. Let's say you are studying Hamlet. Yeah, I know, basic and cliché, but let's take Hamlet. You want to see how many times the word madness appears. Yeah, good luck flipping through all 300 pages manually. And you'd probably still miss a few key examples anyway. But it's not just about saving time. With paper, you can't search across multiple texts at once, visualize how often certain words or patterns appear, update a published book without reprinting the whole thing, or simply adjust font, spacing, or contrast for accessibility. Like the easiest thing. And then there's the issue of access. If you don't buy the book, you don't have it. That's it. End of the game. Which might not be a problem for modern titles you can borrow from your local library, but what if you want to see, let's say, a 16th century manuscript from Florence? Your chances of holding it in your hands are slim to none. And even if you do own the book, carrying that big body on the train when you're on the way isn't exactly convenient. But, you know, that's where modern technology comes in. Digitization lets you borrow thousands of pages, zoom into details, compare text side by side from anywhere in the world, and much, much else. And the best part is, we don't have to choose between digital and paper format. Both can exist at the same time. Because, yeah, paper is probably still safer if, say, a solar storm ever wipes out the internet. But until that day comes, we might as well enjoy what technology has to offer. Now here's the catch. Many old school scholars are very skeptical about bringing their work to a computer screen. They imagine programming as something only engineers do. And the idea of coding a literary edition sounds terrifying to them. So they prefer to outsource it. What could go wrong? Yeah, a lot could go wrong. When humanists hand over the technical work entirely, something crucial gets lost. Because programming a digital edition isn't anything like building a website for a coffee shop. You're not just displaying content. You're encoding linguistic, historical, philosophical meaning. Dealing with this meaning requires nuance, context, structure, and quite a bit of knowledge. Things that an IT professional might not really grasp, but that humanists already possess. So the real solution isn't to turn every programmer into a pseudo-philologist, but instead to train digital humanists who can speak both languages, that of traditional scholarship and that of modern technology. People who can think critically about data, meaning, and culture, and still know what a tag is in an HTML script. And what if that means occasionally consulting a professional developer? No problem. Collaboration is the heart of digital humanities anyway, so don't let that scare you away. Even if your IT skills are underdeveloped, that's okay. We all have to start from somewhere, and from the bottom, you can only go up. Okay, that sounds cool and all, but what do digital humanists actually do? Digital humanists design, build and maintain software applications and tools that support research in the humanities. That's why we talk about digital humanities in general and not simply digital history. Here are some typical examples of usual tasks for digital humanists. Digital editions. These are interactive, annotated versions of text with cross-references. Databases. Structured collections of data about texts, people, or events. Data visualizations, which means turning complex relationships and ideas into a visual form that we can quickly access. Digital corpora. which are insanely large annotated text collections for linguistic or literary studies. And more recently, AI is being used to automate repetitive tasks, improve text recognition, and analyze massive datasets in ways that were previously impossible. Now, if you know anything about programming and informatics, you've probably heard that there are many very different programming languages out there. So, which programming language should you learn if you want to do digital humanities? Well, fortunately for us, there is only one basic standard programming language in our field, which is XML. This language is fairly similar to HTML, but allows room for much more precise tagging. What is XML exactly? Don't worry. In a nutshell, XML is about adding invisible tags to a text so a computer can understand it. Because a computer won't know that the letter combination PLATO stands for the person Plato unless you tell it explicitly. Something like, hey, buddy, every time you see these letters, so PLATO, they refer to the philosopher Plato, who lived in Athens in the 4th century BCE, you know. It would be great if you could add that up, and so every time anyone clicks on the name Plato, they could learn something about this person. Thank you. So this tagging system lets us search accurately for every mention of Plato in the text, even if it's split between lines, pages, or written in a different grammatical form, which is particularly useful for languages that are flexive, such as Latin, Greek, or German. However, even if we all use XML, we still have the risk of using different standards. Like there's different ways to interpret tags, or maybe different ways to name the different tags. So, is there any consensus? Fortunately, there is. To make sure we all speak the same tagging language, the Text Encoded Initiative, or TI for short, was born. This community has existed since the 1980s and has created and maintained the TI guidelines ever since. These guidelines are a set of standards used by libraries, museums, universities, and publishers to preserve texts digitally in a consistent way. Of course, it's not an easy job, because programming languages evolve quickly, and every few decades something needs to be updated. However, the TI XML standard has proved strong through decades, flexible and incredibly durable in the field of digital humanities. So if you want to jump in the field, don't worry, go straight for XML for the next few decades. Moreover, digital humanities stand out for the strong commitment to open science. This has been an issue in the last few decades in every academic institution. Subscriptions to publishing journals get expensive, it's just all a mess. But digital humanities is different to many other branches in academia because they are deeply concerned with making research transparent, democratic, and accessible to the general public, even if that sometimes means making less profit and facing more funding challenges. That's why any serious project in the field will publish its data and code in open repositories, often so on platforms like GitHub, so anyone can access it, reuse it, or adapt it for other projects. So you don't even have to start from scratch. You can just open a GitHub repository, see what other people have done, check out the code, and take it for your own application. It's not stealing if it's open, right? And lastly, something that I really love about this field, the fact that many digital humanists aren't tied to universities at all. In fact, one of the most inspiring aspects of digital humanities is the emphasis on community building beyond academia. A great example of this is Ediciones, an international initiative that connects people working on digital scholarly editions and related projects. They promote open standards, provide practical guidance, and bring together researchers, developers, librarians, and independent scholars, all working towards the same goal: making knowledge more accessible to everyone. So no, you don't need a university position to become a digital humanist. At least I didn't need any. The tools and resources are out there. All you need is curiosity, resilience, and a lot of motivation to get started. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, since I'm planning a full series on digital humanities for beginners. Next time we'll look at how digital editions actually work and why there's so much more than just scanned PDFs. But do let me know if there's something else you're particularly interested in. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, you guys.